Welcome back to another episode of the Liberated Women podcast. I'm also going to do this as an IGT live because I don't often do lives anymore. And it's really fun to be able to do this at the same time. And it's really fun to be able to do this together, both here on Zoom for YouTube, for the podcast listeners, and also here on IGT Live. Hello, Anna. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I'm going to experiment with recording this podcast episode live on my IGTV and on Zoom at the same time. So take your pick. You can listen to it on Spotify next week. You can watch it on IGTV and you can watch it on YouTube. And I want to share a little bit today. The title of this episode is Stay Silent or Stay Safe. And I want to share about a recent story, a recent experience that happened to me. Hello, lovely to see you, Anna. And it's a little bit of an edge for me to share this story with you because it's something that I've kept quite silent about for quite some time, but I feel really ready to share it. And as someone who is forging the path to wild liberation, someone who is helping other women forge their path to wild liberation, it feels really right to now share this story with you and to share some of the recent difficulties that I went through when I had to remain silent. So for those of you that know or have listened to my podcast episodes before, you've been in my world or you've been in my containers, using my voice and expressing myself and liberating my voice and helping other women to do the same has been a huge, huge part of my feminine awakening, of my spiritual awakening, of shedding a lot of the layers that I've had to shed in order to be hello, Rebecca, nice of you to join us, welcome. In order for me to actually be able to creatively express myself to you now, to be able to articulate myself, I actually was selectively mute for quite a number of years following an abusive relationship and a really bad car accident where I was cut out of the car. It happened in the same year when I was 22 years old. And it took me a really long time to work through a lot of the PTSD that I had from that. And I lived for a really long time in a freeze trauma response. And when I freeze, I shut down. And I'm sure some of you might be familiar with this feeling of shutting down. When you freeze, your voice contracts, your throat just contracts, your voice contracts. And you find it really difficult to actually say what it is that you want to say. It's like living inside of you. The words are there, but you feel so shut down that it's really then difficult to express yourself. And I recently manifested from my soul aligned desire a trip to Wadi Rum in Jordan in the Middle East. And when I woke up, I think it was like February this year, the weather was miserable in the UK. It was cold, it was dark, it was rainy, it was horrible. And I turned to my partner and I said, I have to get to the desert this year. Like, it's in my soul is calling me to go to the desert. And when my soul calls me to do something, and you probably feel this, if you are a magical woman, and all women are magical, just by the fact that you are a woman, you will have these soul callings, these soul desires, these things that pull you and make you go, yes, I want to do this thing, or I feel it, like I can't see the vision, but I know I have to get to this place, or I know I have to talk to that person, or I know that I have to leave that situation, or whatever it is that your soul is calling you to do. For me, it was, I need to get to the desert. I actually grew up in the desert as a young child. And so the desert is my home. My ancestors come from the desert. My ancestors wandered the desert for many, many years. And I feel super alive and aligned when I'm in the desert. You probably all have that place in your soul, knowing that makes you feel really alive. So if you have a place like that and you're thinking about it and you're watching me on IGTV or you're following me on the podcast or YouTube, and you're welcome to just send me a message and say, yeah, I have this place that feels really aligned for me. It might be a place in nature. It might be a place that you've never actually visited, but your soul just has been there before and knows that you're supposed to be there. The beach for you, Anna, amazing. Yeah, totally. I'm also like that with like tropical beaches. I go to this same place in my meditation where it's always like a jungle with a bay of a beach, and I've been dreaming of that, and that's a whole other story that I'm going to share soon too, another manifestation. So here I am, I'm like, I have to get to the desert, and it didn't happen, and I was like, okay, I'll leave it, forget about it. And then around about June of this year, I started to reach out to some places in the desert to see if I could run some workshops or help on retreats. And I found this amazing place in Jordan, in Wadi Rum, which is stunning. It's like the most incredible desert I've ever been to in my life so far, yet. And there's a place there called the yoga. It's a yoga retreat center. It's a Bedouin camp that's a yoga retreat center. And I contacted the woman and I said, I really would love to come here and volunteer, help you out, see what I can do. And she was like, I'm really sorry, it's not really the right time. And hey, Mary, it's not really the right time for you to come here. I'm busy. I actually don't live in Jordan, but I'm married to a Bedouin, and it just wasn't aligning. And I was like, okay, I have to leave it, but my soul still yearns to get to the desert, right? Like the way that your soul, Anna, might yearn to get to the beach, or maybe somebody else to the forest or to the mountains, or wherever your soul is calling you to get to. And then she contacted me around about September and said, you know what, I've been thinking about you, and I would love for you to come to Jordan to not volunteer, but to run some workshops. You're a breathwork facilitator. Come and run breathwork workshops for us. And I was like, oh my goodness, amazing. Yes, I would love to come to your yoga retreat center and run breathwork workshops. This is amazing. We had a really long conversation on the phone. I booked my flights to go to Jordan October. I meant to go to Jordan in October that was just happened. And we all know what started to happen in the Middle East during October. Okay, at the very beginning of October. Hello, Equanimity Festival. Lovely to have you on live with me. If you're here, just send me a wave, say hello, drop a comment. So I get invited to go to Jordan in the Middle East. My flights are booked for October. I'm super excited about it. I feel this like fizzle in my soul. Then world events start playing out. Now, here's where the interesting part comes in. My soul yearns to go to the desert. I know I need to be there. I want to get there. I want to be a part of this incredible retreat center that's like bang in the middle of Wadi Rum. Like it's like Mars on Earth. It's honestly so beautiful. If you've never been there, I highly recommend you get yourself to Wadi Rum Desert. It's honestly so, so, so stunning and so alive. And these world events take place. And I'm Jewish. And I'm also half Israeli. And this is where it gets edgy for me. So my family are going, don't go, it's not safe. My partner's going, don't go, it's not safe. My friends are going, don't go, it's not safe. And I was like, guys, I trust that I'm going to be so protected and well looked after when I get there. I really, really believe in this. I really trust that I'm going to be okay. And I had to really lean into my edge and really lean into the trust that I was going to be okay. But here's where it gets edgier. So I arrive in Amman and there's protests in Amman. I get it. Totally fair enough. They're protesting. Shit's happening in the world. Of course, I get it. And I'm like, okay, they keep asking me where I'm from. They're asking me, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from England. I'm from England. My name is so Israeli, but I'm like, I'm from England. And I'm feeling this like heartbeat inside. Like, I can't say who I am. Hey, Felix, I can't say who I am. I can't tell them where I'm from. What if I tell them I'm Jewish? What if I tell them I'm Israeli? What are they going to say? What's going to happen? I'm here on my own. What am I going to do? And I'm like swallowing it down. And I'm like, I'm from England. And they're like, you're welcome. You're welcome. And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, it's the British that made the mess in the Middle East in the first place. So I don't know why I'm welcome as a British person, but that's, you know, I'm like feeling into it. And I'm like, all this shame is arising in me. Like, what do I do? And my family didn't want me to go. My family are across the border hiding in bomb shelters. People are being killed on the other side in Gaza. And I'm here in Jordan. And I didn't tell anybody in my family that I was going apart from my mum and dad. And now I'm publicly announcing it live. And I wanted to share all the stories of my time in Jordan. I had so many amazing experiences. I wanted to share it all on Instagram. I wanted to talk about it. And I was like, I can't. I'm silenced. Couldn't share. All these thoughts going through my mind. What if my family think I'm traitors? I'm a traitor. Like they're across the border and I'm here and I'm safe and I'm fine. But like I lived there for a while and I have family and I'm like feeling really uncomfortable in my body. And I'm like, okay, I can't tell anyone here where I'm from. I can't share my actual identity. I'm just going to stick with the story that I'm British, but it doesn't feel comfortable for me to stay silent. What would you do in this situation? if you're watching me live, please share in the comments with me, what would you do in this situation? And it brought up a whole host of like shadow work for me to address whilst I was in the desert. And the desert will hold you. The desert is so magnificent. I really believe the desert is feminine energy. It's so mystical there. It's so magical. And I was there and I was like, okay, I'm an oracle. I'm a mystic. Let me use my light language to do some clearing of the grids here. So every day I went into the mountains, I sang songs for peace, I said prayers for peace, I used my light language to share energy, to create prayers. And I felt like, okay, I've come here to these lands for a reason at this time. What am I doing here? And my inner conflict is like radiating inside of me like this with my identity crisis and not being able to share who I am. And there's a conflict going on across the border. And I'm there and I'm silent. And for 10 days, I had to stay silent in my identity, in who I actually am. And I couldn't use my voice and I was swallowing it and I was suppressing it. And it was coming up to Samhain and I was about to run a Samhain women's circle talking about witches and persecution and the witch wound and the witches that were burnt for being who they are, for their identity. And I'm here I'm there in the Middle East, having the same, like, oh my God, I'm going to be persecuted. If I share who I am, I'm going to be persecuted. Like, I'm not causing the conflict, but it's in my lineage. And there's people in my lineage that are in pain right now. And there's people in other people's lineages that are in pain and suffering right now. What do I do? How can I stay out of this, like, this vortex that I'm in? And it really just brought up so much to me. And I want to share this story because, you know, I talk about being a liberated woman and I am a liberated woman in so many ways. And I'm still liberating myself and we're all liberating ourselves. And this patriarchy is crumbling. Like the world is waking up and seeing what is actually going on in the world. And if you didn't wake up 3 years ago, then surely you are waking up now. And it's just going to keep on happening. And we keep having to use our voice. And I've sat on this story for like 3 weeks now since I came back. And I was like, oh, I can't share it. I can't tell people where I was. I can't express my identity. And I'm like, this does not feel okay for me to not share who I am. Like, why should I be scared just because I'm Jewish? Why should I be scared to share that? Because of a country that I'm in. And, you know, like everyone in Jordan was so amazing, so friendly, so beautiful, so lovely, so protective. I had such an incredible time. They really took care of me. I felt so safe, so held, especially by the men there. Like it was gentle, it was beautiful. Like I had a really, really incredible time. But there was this, like, it felt like I was carrying a dirty secret the whole time I was there. And that feeling of shame that lives in your body, especially for women, that stops you from expressing yourself and stops you from speaking your truth and stops you from stepping into your full authenticity of who you actually are and stops you from, like, it's a protective mechanism, but it's not allowing you to be in your full expression. And if you're scared to be in your full expression, how can we ever fully liberate ourselves? And I was like, oh my goodness, like I feel so shackled in this space. Like I don't feel liberated right now. Like I'm not swallowing, I'm not taking my own medicine. How can I talk about being liberated when I feel so scared to share who I am? And I know there's like a practical element of that. And maybe I was right to protect myself. You know, maybe I was right because I was there on my own. But there was this other part of me that was like having this massive internal battle. And it was like this huge reflection of the external conflict and battle that was happening with the same story of what I was battling with, which is my lineage, my ancestry, my ancestors. And I work with ancestral healing. When you come to me for a session and I give you breath work, it's not just breath work. Like we're going deep, we're going shamanic. Like this is ancestral. We're clearing lifetimes of shit, curses, vows. And I'm there in the desert doing it real time, clearing ancestral. I don't even know what to tell you, some of the stuff that came through. I'm still processing it. But I really just wanted to share this story now because it's taken me about 3 weeks to get the courage up to actually be brave enough to share this part of my story and to share it with you, because there may have been times in your life where you felt like you had to stay silent, times where you felt like you had to swallow it down, times where you felt like you had to suppress your voice. And it's this like carrying of the shame, and it lives in the body and you can feel it. You can really feel it, like sitting in your heart, sitting in your womb, sitting in your soul, like choked, silenced. And it takes bravery to forge your path to world liberation. It takes courage. It really takes courage to liberate yourself, because we have been so tightly bound and shackled. We've been lied to. We've been misinformed. We've been so deeply conditioned to live in this maya, this illusion. And it lives in the body. And it comes through your DNA, and it comes through your lineage, and it comes through your ancestry. And I really just want to liberate this story out into the world and liberate my voice to share. I was scared. I was scared to use my voice. I was scared to be in my identity there. I was scared that I was going to be persecuted. I was. And no one should ever have to feel, after all the work that we have done and the work that we continue to do, no one should ever feel ashamed of who they are, of your identity, of sharing your truth, of being in your full authentic expression and having to hide that part of yourself because you don't feel safe. And if any of my family do end up watching this and you do think I'm a traitor, sorry. I love you deeply, but I'm on my own journey. It takes bravery to say that too. And I'm here for bravery. I'm here for courage. I'm here for liberation. I'm here to support you on your path to liberation. And as I walk you through your path to liberation, I'm walking myself home too. We're all walking each other home. No woman is free until all women are free. No humans are sovereign and free until all humans are sovereign and free. And we're waking up. The world is waking up. Slowly, slowly. It's uncomfortable. It brings up so much shadows. It brings up so much grief. It brings up so much pain. But if we can't be in our full, expansive, expressive, authentic, creative expression, what are we doing here? What are we actually doing here? So I hope this story has touched you in some way. I hope it's helped you to see how much courage and bravery it takes to forge your path to world liberation. I hope it gives you a sense of understanding that we are all having these narratives that run around our head, these conditionings that like tell us it's not safe to be us, it's not safe to be you, it's not safe to be your full expressive self, it's not safe to show up in that way, you're going to get hurt, you're going to get persecuted. It's ancestral. The more we can liberate our voices, the more you can liberate your voice, the more that you can share the truth of who you are and continue to do so. You are giving permission to other people to do the same. You are creating a legacy. You are breaking chains that your ancestors couldn't. And you are forging a new path, writing a new script, creating a new paradigm. And the more and more that we can do this, the more the illusions and the structures will crumble. And the more people will have eyes to see and hearts to feel and souls to bear. Hey, Gemma. The more that we can all do this, the more that we give permission to other people, the more that we can start to all walk each other home. So I'm going to leave this with, may all sovereigns be free. May all sovereigns be free. May all humans be sovereign and free. If you are someone who struggles to walk in your authentic expression, if you are someone who's looking to liberate yourself from anything in your life that you feel is holding you back, this is exactly what I'm here to do, because I walk this path myself. I've walked it so many times, and I will continue to walk it till the day that I die. This is my mission. This is my mission. So if you really need support with that, book in for an alchemy call with me. Come and create some magic. The work that I do is magic. It's magic. It's total magic. It's deep and it's magical. You have to come and experience it for yourself. People leave my sessions being like, what was that? What did you just do? I don't know how you got rid of my pain, but you did. I don't know. I feel so much lighter. I feel so much more alive. I don't know what you did. Alchemy, baby. Alchemy. I'm an alchemist. I'm just going to own that new title. I'm an alchemist. I'm an alchemist. The desert is my home. Hey, Cami. So I'm going to wrap up. Thank you for being here if you were live. And thank you for those of you that are listening to this on the podcast. This episode will be released next Monday. Always, all my podcast episodes are released on a Monday. Always. So and sometimes I do little extra bonus ones as well, just for fun, because I enjoy recording and I enjoy talking. But this will be released next Monday. And I really love it if you could listen and share. We're almost at 1,000 downloads for my podcast. I started it 4 months ago. I'm almost at 1,000 downloads now. I'm at like 950 something. So let's get it to 1,000. How cool is that? Like, I started my podcast like 4 months ago. I chat on my own. I do solo casts. I get guests on. It's great. I love having these conversations. I love it that people are listening to it. Please share it. Tag me. Share it on your socials. Share it with a woman that you think needs to listen. Because I love a podcast. I learn loads from other people's podcasts, and I love to share about them too, because they're just great. There's so much wisdom, so much like depth and nuggets that you could just like take on. So if you do love my podcast, please, 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 it means the world to me for you to share it, review it, tag me, share it with other women. And if you are based in Norwich, I have my last ever huge event running at Norwich Yoga Central, Awaken Your Inner Goddess. This is one of my favorite events. Massive wild liberation. It's a sober event. So you get a mocktail when you arrive at the Goddess Temple. You have ecstatic dance. You have an opening ceremony, a closing ceremony. We're going to have a breathwork workshop and a Goddess yoga flow this time. And upstairs, I've got some beautiful women selling products in the Goddess market. So the last few tickets are available. It's on the 25th of November, 15 days time. I would love, 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 love you to come and join us there. All the tickets and the links are in my bio. And also I will plunk them into the show notes. And I very much look forward to seeing you somewhere in one of my containers. Big love.